All right. One of the big stories, Rob, and I think it'll be a big story all off season, is what is going to happen in Seattle, right? I mean, we've talked about it. Oh, does he go Russell Wilson? Is he out of there? Denver, New York, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. I mean, Cleveland as a pipe dream, all these scenarios. And Russ has continued to say publicly that he hopes to stay in Seattle. All right. And recently that's what he's been saying. But Seahawks fans aren't convinced that that's what is going to happen. He did release a tweet. It was a photo of himself walking onto the field. And the caption was light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know what that means. You know, fans are speculating in Seattle. It's similar, they said, to the Tom Brady tweet and photo when he left New England eventually.
Well, remember, they had
ago.
A picture of him walking out of the stadium. And they were like, well, what does that mean? I was like, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? I thought it was.
So anyway, Adam Schefter has said this. He said this last week. There is a league-wide feeling, Rob, according to sources, that Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson will not be together again next season, which obviously would represent the end of one of the most successful head coach quarterback duos in NFL history. So he's saying they're not, most likely Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are splitting up. The question is, which one, if either, stays in Seattle? So I'm going to ask you, Rob, pose the question to you. If you're running the Seahawks and you're going to keep either Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson, which one are you keeping?
I think who has the most value is Russell Wilson, not Pete Carroll. And if you're trying to rebuild your organization, to me, you could trade Russell Wilson and get 2 first-round picks. The Giants have 2 of them sitting there. They would love to upgrade. They need a quarterback desperately. Daniel Jones, I think I'm good on him, Chris. I know you called him Danny Dimes. You still with?
No, I'm not calling him.
Are you done with him? Okay.
He's
Danny
Daniel
Pennies.
Jones to me.
Yeah, okay.
He's Daniel Jones, period.
Those days are over, right. I mean, okay. I know it's hard. You think it's hard to get a quarterback. You hate to give up a guy who's won you a Super Bowl, went to 2 Super Bowls. But if you're going to make a move and you're really trying to turn the organization around, that's the only way. You could keep a good quarterback, but I just wonder how good they'll be in that division. Yes, they have a quarterback, but they need so many. They have more holes than a golf course. So they need draft picks. They need to make some moves. They need to fill some things, and the quickest way to do that is by getting rid of a quarterback or trading a quarterback and getting 2 first-round picks, and then you have yours, Chris, right? They were out of the playoffs, so it'll be a decent pick. Right. So that's 3 picks right there that you could plug 3 big holes with guys. Russell Wilson's contract is so ridiculous. It takes up, Rob G., you got to give me the exact number, but it takes up a big chunk of the salary cap, so you can't maneuver with other things because of it. I'm not knocking him, and that's the way the game is laid out. And if you got to pay your guy, he's got to get a big percentage of the pie. But it handcuffs you when you don't have younger guys who are stars. Like if you're Cincinnati and you got Mixon and Chase, Chris, they're not making any money, right?
Right.
And you got a quarterback in his second year. He's not making any money. Like you can go, they got plenty of room to do something and make something happen before you have to pay those guys. They did that already in Seattle. Those days are over. So that's why I think I would trade Russell Wilson. I get it. Hard to get a quarterback, but I would get a stopgap measure, and I would try to do something like that. And let me give you, he takes up Russell Wilson's cap number, Chris, is $37 million, and that takes up 17% of the salary cap.
Well, you said it at the end, Rob. You said, I know it's hard to get a franchise quarterback, and that's my thing. And that's why it's not even close to me. I'm parting ways with Pete Carroll. Great job, Pete. You got us to 2 Super Bowls. You got us 1 win. But we're moving on. If I got to choose between Russell freaking Wilson and Pete Carroll, Give me Russell Wilson all day, every day. Pete Carroll was nothing special. He was at USC in college, but he was nothing special in the NFL before Russ came along. He had coached 6 seasons in the NFL, 2 winning seasons.
He would have
3
2 Super
franchises.
Bowls if it wasn't for Russ, but that's another question.
Well, he got one with Russ, but, New York Jets, New England, Seattle, all those places he coached before Russ and had 2 winning seasons in 6 years. And I'm not trying to disparage him. I'm just saying it's not close which one I'm choosing because, Rob, as I said it, Seattle, their first franchise quarterback ever was Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but they went to the Super
30
Bowl
some
before
odd
that.
years. They did, and you look, you can get there occasionally. Trent Dilfer, right? Trent Dilfer wasn't any, great quarterback.
But they got there. They lost to Pittsburgh.
But it's possible.
Right, okay.
Right, but in general, Rob, you know this. And what you're trying to do, obviously you want to win a Super Bowl, but you also want sustained winning, right?
You want to have a window. You want to have a window.
Yes.
And
that usually takes a great quarterback. Would you agree with that?
I agree, but I just don't think that you're going to be able to get there. It's a catch-22. Your point is well taken, but I think I have a point from the standpoint of if you're handcuffed, even having a great quarterback doesn't mean you're going to get there. That's the problem.
See, I don't think their roster's as bad as everybody, a lot of people think. They were 12-4 last year. I'm not saying they don't have holes and they got to add some pieces. They got Bobby Wagner. They got Jamal Adams, who I know everybody's down on all of a sudden, but he can still play football. They got DK Metcalf. And Tyler Lockett. They got Chris Carson, who's been injured most of this year, and then Rashad Penny had a great year as a running back, averaged 6 yards a game. Rob, people forget Russ was injured for 3 games, like out completely, and then he came back early from the broken finger and wasn't himself for the first 2 or 3 games back from injury. They beat the 49ers twice. They beat Indianapolis.
They also lost to the Bears at home.
Right, they did. They beat Arizona. But they ended the season 4-2, and Russell Wilson threw 15 touchdowns against 3 interceptions in his last, 7 games. I mean, there is no way that I'm giving up Russell Wilson at this point because he's still in his prime. If he was 38, okay, we'll move. And he still could play, but, we weren't really going anywhere. We can move on. He's 33. He might have 6 more really good years in him.
Yeah, but when you look at that division, I don't see you putting them over the Rams, the Cardinals, or even the 49ers moving forward. I really don't. I think that they're in a tough
They beat the
spot.
Niners twice this year.
I got it. And the Niners beat the Rams twice, and yet the Rams won the division. I get it. All I'm saying is those 3 teams are going to be good. Would you say that for the next 3 or 4 years
fair.
as well?
I think the whole division. I hear you. Right. It's kind of like it's even better, obviously, this year than the AFC North. But it's the best division in football, and it's going to be that way because Stafford's not old, and that team is
right.
Still
He's going to be there for a couple of years, even if they don't win this year. They're going to be around for at least 2 more years with Stafford.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Oh yeah, and Arizona, you got Kyler Murray, unless he's had trouble staying healthy, but
right. And without a collapse, Chris, where they were headed, I mean, let's just be honest.
They looked great.
They had some impressive wins. They came into L.A. and won.
Right.
They won their first 7 games. They won games where we were like, wow, we didn't all the way buy in, but they had an impressive start.
Right. So I get you. It's a tough division, but I think once you get that franchise quarterback, you keep him until he's no longer that guy. I think Russ is still that guy. I'd build around him and move off of Pete Carroll. But let's see what the listeners think.